have here the president of economistas in this state. The president of economistas in this state in Alicante is Mr. Paco. Paco want to say a few welcome, a few words for the welcome for everybody. Paco.
Bueno, nada, un segundo simplemente para agradecer a la EFA que haya tenido la deferencia de celebrar su reunión anual aquí en Alicante. Gracias. Es un placer para nosotros que estéis aquí. También a la EUIPO que, bueno, pues que nos haya prestado sus instalaciones y la verdad que para nosotros es un placer. Está claro que el sector de la auditoría y de la información financiera está en pleno cambio. Los fenómenos como la crisis económica, la globalización y las nuevas tecnologías han cambiado la naturaleza de los negocios y han establecido un concepto clave para que la economía funcione, y ese concepto es la confianza. La transparencia es la materia prima con la que se fabrica la confianza y está claro que una rendición de cuentas requiere, por un lado, de contables que hagan de forma correcta la información de las empresas, pero también requiere de personas independientes que verifiquen, analicen y recopilen la coherencia de los datos que se ofrecen a los terceros. El futuro está claro que nos depara un modelo de información más completo y por ello entiendo que el futuro de la auditoría pasa por reforzar el papel del contable y del auditor como generador de confianza. Ampliar el alcance y la profundidad de su trabajo se revela como un paso necesario y uno de los retos, como ya hemos comentado aquí esta misma mañana. Por eso es tan importante, o son tan importantes organizaciones como EFA, además teniendo en cuenta, por ejemplo, que para dar un dato, en España el 88% de las auditorías son realizadas por pequeñas y medianas empresas, así que enhorabuena a EFA por su trabajo y gracias de nuevo por haber tenido la deferencia de hacer aquí su convención anual. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. I'm not sure whether you can hear me. I hope so. Okay, just before the coffee break, the first session, the first part of the first session, we focus on the diversification of professional service offerings by SMPs, and we focused on their potential role with intellectual property. Well, now we are the second part of the first session, and this part looks at the diversification of service offerings into sustainability services. And to moderate, to chair this session, we have EFA's Special Advisor and Professor of Accounting at Brunel University, London, Robin Jarvis, who will orchestrate things with a great panel of experts. So Robin, over to you.
Thank you very much, Paul, and good morning all. As the title is, it's a diversification of services offering sustainability. That's the theme. And what the focus is going to be in this session is about looking at awareness raising, building capacity and input into policy and regulation standards, and particularly on standards at the moment, because it's going very quickly in the EU, more so than I think elsewhere, in looking at and developing standards appropriate for looking at climate change problems and disclosures. The structure of the session, we've got 4 very good speakers coming from different angles, if you like. We've got Esther to start off with, and they'll be introducing themselves to a great extent. But Esther is an academic, but a board member of the Economistas, and also she's on the project task force of the European Sustainable Reporting Standards Board. So very experienced person coming from different perspectives in terms of standard setting and the Spanish Institute. After that, we go to Cecile, who's head of the EU office at ACCA in Brussels, and she works very, very closely with the European Commission, a great networker, and knows a lot of what the policies are within Europe and introducing ACCA into the European arena. That's followed by Helena, who's a board member of OCC, the Portuguese Institute, a practitioner now. So we got, if you like, we got the an introduction to practitioners, in particular, looking at the Portugal's Institute. We then go on to Harry, who's a member of the MBA SME committee, another practitioner coming from a different jurisdiction within Europe. So therefore, arguably, it's a very interesting mix of panel members that I'm looking forward to hearing about how they're, if you like, pursuing awareness raising, et cetera, et cetera. But if I can start by briefly looking at the context of this particular subject area. And in March 2022, EFAA published, I think, a very, very good publication. And I should emphasize, I wasn't one of the authors. And it's called The Emergence of Sustainability Reporting, Implications for SMPs and EFAA Response. And if I can just pick up some aspects about this paper. Firstly, it recognizes the importance of the SMEs. It says here, for instance, SMEs collectively account for a significant, if not majority, of share of environmental and social impacts by the private sector. Now, one of the things I think that's not necessarily publicized and communicated is the fact that SMEs are going to play a very, very important part. The focus tends to be on listed companies, but SMEs are clearly going to play an important part in this, this aspect about sustainability and climate change issues. It talks about implications for SMPs, this paper. In particular, it says SMEs, like it or not, they will be impacted as large companies in their value chain. So there's a value chain dimension. And banks extending their credit demand sustainability and information to fulfill their own reporting obligations. So there's another dimension to this SME involvement as well. Moving to another reference here, just very briefly again, that on competition, and one of the things we must be very careful of is a lot of people see climate change issues from a regulation perspective as an opportunity, a business opportunity. And often, I would argue, they haven't got that much experience as SMPs have. And here we talk about competition comes from sustainability consultants and large firms and others. So we have to be very careful in this game of developing our products as SMPs. And lastly, it refers to what I would like to refer to as the advocacy and awareness raising. And that if you have a look at the EFAA website, they have an excellent and it's fast growing, of course, section on SMPs supporting sustainability. And I would really encourage you to have a look at that particular section as SMPs and Institute members. So anyway, that's the context. And perhaps we can start straight away by moving to our first presenter. And I should say that the presentations I anticipate are going to be between 10 and 15 minutes for each. So there's 4 presenters. And also I should say that Cecile, the ACCA head of the EU office in Brussels, is online. So there's the 3 of us here present and Cecile online. And we're heading for, if you like, our target is between 10 and 15 minutes for each presentation. And hopefully after that, we can explore some ideas that our presenters have made in terms of some questions. Okay, so if I can pass on to Esther to start off with.
Gracias, Robin. Buenos días. Como estamos en el marco incomparable en la ciudad de Alicante, en España, pues yo comienzo dando las gracias a todos los asistentes en castellano, aunque ahora intervendré en inglés. I don't want to forget everyone who is attending this event online, because I've seen lots of names in the screen. And thank you very much for all that are attending online and not here. They are losing this face-to-face event. Yeah, but anyway, thank you. So I have to break the ice in this table that is about diversification of services offering, because we have to be able to offer sustainability services. And although I will be in charge of showing you the steps done by Economistas, Consejo General de Economistas of Spain, I would like to point out some general aspects of sustainability standards and sustainability regulation in the European Union, because as Robin has just mentioned, I've been involved in this process. And firstly, I want to highlight, and currently is open the public consultation of the first set of draft European Sustainability Reporting Standards of ESRS. And we have to bear in mind, in order to give our views in this public consultation, we have to answer from the point of view of SMPs. And we know that this is the result of a process that started with the European strategy of the Green Deal, and then the goal included in this strategy that was the revision of the non-financial reporting directive. So the European Commission published last year on April the proposal for a corporate sustainability reporting directive. So we have changed the name. Now we are not speaking about non-financial information, and we are speaking about sustainability reporting or sustainability information. Sorry. And in this proposal for CSRD, it was written that there will be compulsory European sustainability reporting standards adopted by the European Commission as delegated acts. So there was another challenge that was to develop this ESRS, these European Sustainability Reporting Standards. And it was the mission of the EFRAG. As you know, the EFRAG traditionally has been in charge of the financial reporting side, but now he has just created a new pillar, that is the sustainability pillar. So now in the EFRAG, we've got two legs, the financial reporting one and the non-financial sustainability reporting one. And in the EFRAG, while this new sustainability pillar was being created, created two different project task force. One first that was about non-financial reporting standards. In this one, I was a member on behalf of the EFA, and this finished its goal, publishing a list of proposals to the European standard setter. And then another PTF that was in charge of develop this new ESRS. And I've been there too on behalf of the EFA. So EFA has been in the two PTFs in charge of the design of the draft ESRS, looking for proportionality and the SMEs and SMPs point of view. So we have been looking for this proportionality and for being heard the voice of SMEs and SMPs. And EFA has been really active in these sustainability issues. As you know, Robin has just mentioned one of our position papers about the issue. And so the board and the expert groups in EFA have been working hard in the last 2 years in this process. We have issued lots of position papers, and we have recorded some videos that you can see on YouTube. And there are lots of responses to all the consultation processes. All this information is available in EFAA website. And if I have to point out the work done in Economistas in Spain in this sustainability issue, firstly, I would like to highlight that it cannot be said that at home blacksmith wooden knife, because we have prepared our sustainability statements. This is our 2nd year, and we have just finished our sustainability statement. You can see them, our 2 prepared in the slide. And we think that we have to give example to all our practitioners, and Economistas have prepared 2 sustainability statements. Then we have created a sustainability advisory committee. It's created with experts, with members of Economistas. It's a specific committee and is in charge of all these sustainability issues. We have answered all the public consultations. We have published lots of papers, and we are in charge of these issues about sustainability. And if we try to summarize what we are doing in Economistas, we can say that we are trying to raise awareness and build capacity in our SMPs. And one way to do it, one specific action, has been to publish technical guides about sustainability and non-financial information. For example, we have published a guide in order to help practitioners to prepare non-financial or sustainability statements. Another action that we have done has been to publish another guide that was to help the football clubs in Spain in order to prepare sustainability statements too. We've got a collaboration with Spanish La Liga Football, and we are helping them in order to prepare them, in order to be more transparent and to prepare and publish their sustainability statements. Another action could be the publication of periodical newsletter, including the most updated news on sustainability and non-financial information. For example, the last one that is included in the slide is asking for participation in the public consultation on the first set of draft ESRS. And we have organized technical events, including sustainability and non-financial information. We are going to have one next June, next month, and the title of the event is about digitalization and sustainability. And as you all know, I'm sure, we prepare, co-hosted by EFRAG, Economistas, and our Spanish regulator, the ACCA, we prepare the first outreach event speaking about the new ESRS last December. And now we are preparing the next one. It's going to be held in a hybrid format, so you will be able to join it online. And it's dated on 1st July. It will be the second outreach event in Spain, and it will be co-hosted again by EFRAG, Economistas, and our regulator, ACCA. And now we can invite you to join it, because we want to break all records again, because we broke all records, and we want to do it again. So join it, please. And we have tried to give feedback to all the policy, regulation, and standards that have been published. And in this case, I think we can use the EFA's motto, that is the voice of SMPs in Europe. So it's the same for each one of our organizations. And in Economistas, we are using it because we think that we have to speak out to influence regulators, policymakers, standard setters, and other key stakeholders in the EU, and where necessary globally. So we have to promote our role, the role of SMPs, as well as ensure that regulation and standards are proportional and scalable, and that there is a level playing field in the market for professional services. So, and the way to do this is providing input and feedback to any consultation, to any inquiry, and Economistas is doing it. And I think all of your organizations are doing it. And finally, we are taking part in other initiatives, such as this one that is promoted by the European Parliament and wants to try to include women as speakers on European issues. So to finalize, I want to highlight that this is not the present. This is not the future, this is the present. So we have to be able to give all these services as practitioners, and we have an important place to role in supporting sustainability, because we are really close to SMEs. So SMEs and SMPs are really close, and we can speak about them at the same time. I've heard Monica, and she has said SMEs and or SMPs. So we are the same, just the same. And we have to be able to provide these services. And so it is necessary to firstly get our training, get our knowledge. And it's not only in our own interest, but more importantly, it's also in the European public interest. And yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
We now come to Cecile, and she's going to go live through, I assume, the screen here.
Hi, Robin.
Cecile.
Can you hear me?
Hello. Hi. And can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Good,
and
good,
you
good,
me
good.
as well?
Yep, we can hear you. And as I said, Cecile is the head of the EU office at ACCA. And over to you, Cecile.
Thank you very much, Robin. Good morning. In fact, it's nearly good afternoon now. My name is Cecile Bonino, and I am the head of EU Affairs at ACCA, the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, a global professional accountancy body representing a global community of 233,000 members and 536,000 future members across 178 countries. And I'm also indeed the head of our EU office in Brussels, as Robin just mentioned. I am delighted to be here with you today, although remotely, apologies for that, to share some information on how we at ACCA are concretely supporting our members in SMPs in leading the sustainability agenda for small businesses, thereby also helping SMPs diversifying their offering. So for now, my internet connection seems to be working well. So let's hope this continues like this. Next slide, please. So very briefly, I will organize my presentation around these four main axes, and then hopefully we'll have time for more discussions on advocacy. Next slide, please. So let's start with our series of publications. Throughout 2021, we've been talking to SMPs and small businesses from around the world, trying to understand, first of all, what sustainability means to them. Then, if they were already taking any action, and if yes, what are the main drivers for this action? We also asked them what are the barriers they identified, and last but certainly not least, how we can support them in their journey. This resulted into this series consisting in the 4 publications you can see on the screen. 3 of them are under the heading How SMEs Can Create a More Sustainable World. So the first and also the central piece is a playbook for accountants in practice and also finance teams in small and medium-sized organizations, branded with our strategic partner, CAANZ, the Chartered Accountants Australia and New Zealand. The playbook details the benefits that sustainable actions can have for both business success and the environment. It sets out practical steps for embedding sustainable practices within organizations, case studies from across the world, and links to a variety of tools and resources that can support SMEs and SMPs in their sustainability journey. The second reflects SMEs' community views. This piece details the results of a global survey and a virtual community discussion within the small business community. The purpose of this combined analysis is to understand what SMEs and other stakeholders involved in the SME ecosystem think about sustainability. So basically what it means to them and to the organizations they work with, whether actions are currently being taken, again, the barriers against this, and its general importance as we move ahead. Our results, the results of the survey, they do echo, in fact, what Monica was saying earlier around preparedness on sustainability issues. And this survey revealed that only 10% of finance professionals in SMEs and only 8% of SMPs have significant involvement in tackling climate change as part of their role. There is therefore a clear call to action for the accountancy professionals in SMEs to take the lead and engage with the sustainability agenda more actively. The analysis is also cross-referencing specific sections of the playbook, aiming to respond to some of the issues raised by the virtual community participants. The third is about stories. This collection of case studies drawn from all over the world offers a wealth of ideas, real experiences, and also recommendations for SMEs at any stage of the sustainability journey. We hope that this collection will inspire SMEs and SMPs to take the changes necessary to protect our world and future-proof our businesses. Same as the views piece, the stories book is cross-referencing specific chapters of the playbook, supporting some of the points made by our case studies. Finally, the fourth piece you can see on screen is an ACCA and SAGE white paper. It's a call to action to governments and large organizations to support SMEs. This white paper was developed by ACCA in partnership with SAGE and the ICC. It highlights how providing standardized SME-friendly reporting frameworks could unlock significant progress on the journey to net zero. It also suggests that governments, policymakers, and large businesses must acknowledge the specific challenges and reporting burdens faced by SMEs and provide smoothness. 4 integrated principles are suggested in this white paper to take on this mission, which are standardize, simplify, automate, and enable. Next slide, please. Taking now a closer look at the playbook, which we would like to hope will be used as a main reference point for those who want to understand what sustainability is and what they can do, inspiring from the stories of others and also using the practical resources we offer. On the screen, now you can see some of the chapters of the playbook. So let's start with an introduction to sustainability, which sets up the scene. It explains the main concepts related to sustainability, explains UN SDGs, explains what the ESG framework is. It also introduces the SASB universe of sustainability and explains what the Value Reporting Foundation is. Here we are looking at the different aspects of sustainability. It's 3 pillars, so to say, the social, economic, and environmental legs. The role of the SME section, is quite self-explanatory, so I won't develop that further. In sustainability, the business case, we discussed the imperatives for the SMEs to act now. In Accountants Take the Lead, we explain how the accountants can be supporting their organization and how they can add value by leading the sustainability agenda in SMEs. Further sections are also describing concrete steps that can be taken and tools that can be used. The business case, why act now? So here, we explained that there are several reasons why small businesses need to take action on sustainability, and we're outlining some of those imperatives in the playbook. In the section, The Guide to Action, we interconnected sustainability challenges headline Take Action and suggested response and links to further information or tools rather than a comprehensive approach. And in the business transformation section, apologies, we explain how to start developing a sustainability strategy. We explain how to embed sustainability to the business model, in operations, in culture, guiding the accountants in SMEs and SMPs on where to start this conversation, and also top tips embedding sustainability strategy. So in short, this playbook provides this broad spectrum of resources and toolkits, and posts open access resources tailored for SMEs and SMPs, and it is aimed at supporting SMPs at any stage of their sustainability journey. Next slide, please. So now let's take a look at our SMEs, SMPs sustainability activities. So we did launch a series of initiatives reaching out to our members in SMP and also in the broader accountancy community. We initiated the trilateral dialogues with policymakers and SMPs in order to raise the main areas that need to be jointly addressed. In addition, we spoke to the broader non-accountancy SME community to raise the awareness of the general public on the role of SMEs in the sustainability space. You can see these initiatives on screen. So we had practical discussions with SMPs, including webinars with ACCA members, national and regional bodies, to discuss how SMPs can use the playbook in their practical journey in leading sustainable transformation. Another initiative consisted in raising awareness on the role of accountants in leading the sustainability agenda with non-accounting audience, such as, for example, a UN Global Compact SME Festival in Malaysia on the role of accountants in supporting SME sustainable transformation, advocating the role of the profession. And we organized podcasts for Wales Business Insider, discussing the business case for sustainability for SMEs and the actions that SMPs can take to support them. We also engage in the dialogue with SMPs via social media and brought policy members in SMPs together. So for example, during a climate action SMP roundtable with Minister Troy in Ireland for a discussion on the role of SMPs in driving sustainability and the challenges in SME sector that needs to be addressed. Next slide, please. To have the information in one place, we've launched our Practice Connect Hub, which has a section dedicated to sustainability in small business sector and the role of SMPs. So this section contains videos, fact sheets, and also helpful guides to support SMPs in sustainable transformation of their own business and their clients' businesses. Next slide, please. Furthermore, we are running regular practice room sessions, which are free community knowledge sharing sessions led by your SMP members with a monthly session focused on sustainability. Next slide, please. So here on the screen, you should see the various topics that have been discussed within the sessions. For those who cannot join live discussions, they have the opportunity to discuss the topic in a specifically dedicated practice room LinkedIn group. And based on our practice room discussions, we publish key takeaways and top tips for SMPs that are available on the Practice Connect website. It's also available in a special column of a newsletter, which is especially dedicated for members in practice. Next slide, please. Thank you. For those interested in a deeper dive into the subject, ACCA offers a certificate in sustainability for finance professionals, which consists in 5 courses. The first is an introduction to sustainability for finance professionals. The second is about climate risk and reporting. The third is around the SDGs and their impacts. The fourth is on environmental, social, and governance performance and metrics. And the last one is on sustainability analytics for finance professionals. Next slide, please. So this is bringing me to the end of my presentation. I'm happy to take questions and to develop more the advocacy work that we do regarding sustainability and the impact of legislative initiatives in the making on SMPs and SMEs later on. So here, these are the links to the material I've mentioned to you in the course of the presentation. Sarah, will the PDF version of the slide deck be circulated to participants, maybe, so that maybe these links can be available? I saw that also Esther had some in hers. So and this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Two practitioners. After having a lot of emphasis, if you like, from what institutes are doing, it's now the focus in particular on what practitioners are doing and their needs, perhaps, and their challenges. And we're going to begin with Helena, who's a board member of our Portuguese Institute member. Helena.
So good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, as the place. I'm very happy to be here, and I must say just two simple words of thank you for the invitation for you, for Salvador Marin. You are the responsible for this, and my congratulations for this event. He has been magnificent to listen all the colleagues who spoke before, especially Monica. She left me very, very, very quiet, because I see that our problems in Portugal are the same around the world. So we are in one team, like said Esther, and we have the same problems, and probably we are going to reach our goals in the same way. I hope that. So for Paulo Franco, EFA is a very important organization and the only right voice in Europe for supporting SMPs and SMEs. We believe that the strong EFA helps national organizations to become stronger. And of course, the accountants with that are going to be stronger. Robin said that we are practitioners. Yes, it's true, me and Harris. So we are going to speak, I'm going to speak mostly the way that we see these problems, the sustainability, and about how we are going to change our lives to reach the goals. So in 2019, we have a Congress in Lisbon, our huge Congress. We have almost 5,000 people in Altice Arena. And in that time, we are speaking about digitalization. We are thinking that probably it was something in the future, in the long future, that we are going to have in our offices. So we saw that like not an opportunity for now, but something to think about in the next years. But we were so wrong, because after 6 months, COVID-19 showed us that the future is now, and we have to offer to our accountants and to help the economies to survive. We must do it now, and we do it. We did it in Portugal. So everything was changing very quickly, the accounting and the world. And now, unfortunately, also we have another change. The Ukraine is also a big problem for all of us, and is going to put much more responsibility on us to increase.
Cargarnos con mucha más responsabilidad para mejorar nuestros servicios y mejorar así nuestras economías.
Why does sustainability matters? It matters because it's the only way that we have to survive, and we must do it together. This year, we think about that very much. So we are going to make our next Congress in September, and I'm inviting you, all of you, to be there. Would like very much to have all of you from 21 to 23 of September in Lisbon. We are going to have top guys to speak about this problem. We are going to discuss and to see how we can arrange to get more quality, more sustainability, and of course, to cross all these deserts together. So during the COVID, we have many initiatives in order, and we have to arrange new ways of communication.
Organizamos nuevas fórmulas de comunicación con nuestros miembros. Fue difícil ese periodo y la formación la hicimos toda en línea.
Training to get all the people receiving what they need. And we had also a weekly format of training. Our president makes every week almost 4 years of information and to help the accountants. That it was very important, so important that still remains until now, that conversations that we have with her, that it was a new way of showing that we must change our services. As the institution changed, so the accountants, they must change also with their companies, with their work. So that it was our way to show we must go through these problems, not put your arms down, but just do it. That's what we did it there. So in 2022, we think about also how we can improve and get better level in our services. That's why we are going to start a new project. We have already beginning with the preparation, and we are going to do a new project who is going to be a new governance and conduct code for the members, which address sustainability both on social and professional sides. We may not forget that we are also agents of the change. And as agents, we have also families and we have life out of our offices. And that is also a main concern that we have in our group of work, because we must have that issue in our mind when we are talking about people works and outside of the work, there is people with family and with life to live. So in this new release of governance, we have practices, we have the guidelines for them to change the way of working, to improve, so then they can get different times of working, improving their performance, and like that, improving the performance for the companies to who they work. That is our goal. We are going to have some groups, and we are going to have the training inside of the companies if they need. We are going to be more close to the accountants than ever, because we know and we see that in the past we did that with other groups of work and it works. To be more near of the people is what the people needs. Really, sustainability is something what concerns to OCC is a subject on the top of the table. Is something that every day we think about that, and every day we try to improve the life for the ones who are our members. So it's going to have also the quality control included in all the areas of the accountant service delivery. That is going for sure to bring better performance to all of us. And of course, we are going to help the companies around us. Community response, we have also one agreement with the public institutions partner with OCC to spread sustainability projects and engage business community for the relevance of the SDGs and S matters. Accountants have a good knowledge of business. The key is for them to use this knowledge to drive change in business operations, using their skills to measure and understand what is happening. This for us is not an opportunity. This is obliged. We must do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Helena. Some interesting aspects there, and just to remind us, was the last slide was about accountants and their knowledge of business, and I think that's something we need to emphasize, and their knowledge of clients as compared to perhaps people outside being consultants. So I think that emphasizes the incredibly importance of SMPs getting into this market. We now move to Harry, who's a member of the NBA, which is the Netherlands Institute, and he's on the SME committee and another practitioner. So over to you, Harry.
Absolutely, yeah. I would like to start with this statement, and this statement is made by Peter Bakker, another Dutchman, in 2012, and he said on a conference as well, that accountants will save the world. Now, isn't that a positive message? And I believe in this statement. It would be great that all accountants would work together to save the world. And in order to do that, we have to make sure that we are ready to service our clients. Big companies, but small companies as well. And the question is, if and how accountants can offer those services to their clients. And I hope that I can give you some insight in my presentation, or in the way we in the Netherlands try to do so. We have a lot of activities. I will explain about something about that, but I will also introduce my company to you, because I have a SMP myself together with my wife, and we work with 16 people, mostly with young professionals, in an enthusiastic team, and up in the north of the Netherlands, in Groningen. I don't know if you ever have heard of that city, but there are more cities than only Amsterdam in the Netherlands. We are very aware already for a long time of our impact on the environment of our operations. So we publish our non-financial information through very many years on our website to expose to our clients, but also to community. But not at the least, also to potential talents that we want to acquire. Younger professionals, they embrace sustainability agenda all the way. And when you, as an SMP, want to attract these people to your company, it's necessary that you also incorporate in sustainability in your operation. Further, we see that a lot of entrepreneurs also are more and more engaged to make their operations more sustainable. So it's not something, it's said earlier, it's not something for the future, it's really happening now, and it's happening fast. As an example, I made a presentation 2 years ago for a group of accountants, I think about 40 in the room, and they were nearly interested in what I had to tell about the Green Deal, etc. And now we see an enormous increase of enthusiastic people that want to work on the sustainability issues, because we see a big role for us as accountants in this issue. I work with, I am a board member of SRA. You don't know that organization, I think, but SRA represents more than 375 accounting firms that specialize in the SME sector. And further, I'm also practicing, I'm also a member of the MBA SME committee. And it is my personal aim to stimulate my colleague accountants in the Netherlands to serve their clients on the subject of sustainability as well. Where are we talking about? What we see is because of regulations for corporations, that those big companies, they are the early adopters of sustainability issues. And the effect of that is that SMEs, they are not aware of what is going to happen because of new policies concerning sustainability. And that is a big risk. And I think that the chance that SMEs will be not on time aware of the risk that sustainability policies will bring with them is considerable. SMEs and their accountants are not yet sufficient aware of the effects of climate policy on their businesses and sustainability requirements that are imposed on business operations by customers, consumers, but also by governments will increase and will also increase the risk profile. We expect that despite the fact that SMEs are not directly covered by the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, they will indirectly be challenged by its effects on their businesses. Corporations in the chain will require SMEs to provide sustainability information about their business operations. And in addition, it will also be important for funding money for the businesses from banks, because they are also going to increase requirements based on sustainability. Extra challenging with this is that the cost to generate that information is on, because it's not organized at this moment, it's extremely high. And therefore we have a big role to help our clients to get the data quality on a higher level and being able to give the information as demand. How can the accountant play a key role in getting SMEs involved? I think it's precisely the areas that I mentioned in the slide before, where the accountant has added value. When we talk about awareness, in my opinion, the accountant in the SME sector is always the most trusted advisor. The accountant will have to make his client aware of the risk arising from climate policy, but in addition, he will also have to be able to propose scenarios to mitigate these risks. With regard to issuing compliance on sustainability statements, the accountant can prepare his client for expected reporting requirements. Based on this, a baseline measurement can be done to determine whether desired information can be generated at an acceptable cost and whether the quality of data is sufficient. It's my opinion that all these subjects should be core business for accountants in the SME sector. In order to be able to fulfill this role, it is necessary that the accountant has a sufficient baggage on this issue. MBA has developed numbers of activities to activate our SMP members to take up their role in saving the world. One of the first steps we have taken is a collaboration between MBA, SMA Committee and SRA. Together, we have a agenda to help accountants to fulfill their crucial role in society now and in the future. The theme of sustainability plays an important role in this. Through this collaboration, we can use our joint resources more effectively, and we can bundle our expertise. Now I have further insight of our approach. We have started an SME research center, and we have done it with colleges that teach accountancy in the Netherlands. We let students do research on different topics, such as the impact of non-financial reporting demands for SMEs. In addition, we have put together a sustainability committee with frontrunners in this field from various organizations. From this committee, we address themes and explore them further. To increase the awareness, various information campaigns have been set up, such as webinars, manuals, and information brochures. And for accountants that want to specialize in sustainability-related topics, we have developed numerous of courses to enable them to increase their knowledge. Finally, it's not as it was on my screen at home, but finally, we are working on a stakeholders lobby, and we try to collect and publish information through our members to keep the sustainability legislation for SMEs manageable and to ensure that SMEs are enabled to meet the conditions such as attractive subsidies and tax measures. With this approach, we believe that we are enabling our SMP accountants to embrace the sustainability agenda and contribute to save the world. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Harry. I thought particularly picking up the issue with the supply chain aspects, which I hope to explore a bit more in a minute. But I thought one of the interesting things, I don't know about yourselves, was the idea that the economists have actually related to these, the National Football League. It then seemed to me that possibly as they won the European Cup, it could be related to the economistas' support and it's of course against Liverpool, an English club as well. So I was very upset about that. So I thought I'd bring that up anyway. So, but anyway, one of the, if I can go to Harry first, because I was talking to Harry before, and he gave a rather nice example, I thought, of the challenges, or not the challenges so much, but the supply chain situation with one of his clients. It was a soup factory. Well, perhaps you can tell us about that. This is a real reality. This
the company is called the smallest soup company, so you can understand what they produce, soup, and they produce those soups for Albert Heijn and Jumbo Visma. They are big supermarket companies in the Netherlands, and they are already asking for information about their CO2 footprint, what is generated by their process. And so you see it's really a small company, 7 employees, but the demands from the chain is coming. Yeah.
So inevitably we're going to be involved in this this problem about supply chains, etc. So, Esther, have you got any thoughts about the supply chain problem? I mean, it's come up, I think, as debates within within EFRAG as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, Robin. Yeah, I'm thinking about the current public consultation, because although we can think that it's really far from SMEs, because these standards are designed for large companies, that is not true because of these effects on SMEs through the value chain. So SMEs are not directly included in the scope of the proposal for CSRD, but are indirectly included through these effects on the value chain. And yeah, they are required to publish this information, although they don't have the same capabilities or resources as large companies. So it's supposed to be a void with the SMEs specific standards. But it's not going to be avoided because the market is requiring this information to SMEs. So I think we have to answer to this public consultation in this way. Yeah.
I mean, I'm aware that, for instance, SME United, which is the main SME organization in Europe, is really very much against a lot of issues involving disclosures from sustainability angle because of cost, presumably. And what I wondered if, Helena, do you think that your clients, because it's going to clearly cost more, are they firstly aware of what's going on, and secondly, or what they will have to publish, disclose in the future? And do you think they'll be, well, not exactly happy about paying for the additional costs? Any feelings on that?
Feeling that we have in there, and in me as an accountant, I have that problem to show to the companies the value of that kind of work, because they don't realize in the future what is going to bring for them. Probably we have here a problem of communication. They don't have that knowledge. We must give them that knowledge. But we are suspicious when we talk, because it looks like you are selling something because you want to sell something, and not because it's something that they need and something that is going to be something good for their companies. That's how I feel that. Of course, the new entrepreneurs, they have a different idea of what is an account, what is the needs to report what you do, how you can report. Actually, now they are more worried about the report, the non-financial reports. They know that then they can get some profits with that. They can be taken like different companies who are on the top of the top of the mountain. The rest is below. So I hope that in the future the communications bring them that light that they must adopt, not only in the paper, but also in their acts during their jobs. They must adopt different practices so they can have also a rule in the society. That's what I feel. But in this moment, it's going to be quite tough for us to show them the value of these kind of reports.
Harry, what do you think about this cost factor, the additional cost factor on SMEs, and how they would find it acceptable or not? Any feelings there?
In the Netherlands, we have a lot of measures from the government that support SMEs to get extra money or subsidies or get a cheap finance. But those rules are so difficult for SMEs that they often don't apply for them. And also there I see a big role for the accountants to guide them through those.
But would they be happy paying for it?
My experience is that they do.
Good. I'm just turning to Cecile for a minute of looking at sort of Brussels, if you like, and the EU. Question for you, Cecile, is what is the position of ACCA on two important sustainability-related EU initiatives, which currently are being discussed by the European Parliament and Council, namely the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive and Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Initiative, especially with regard to the possible impact of SMEs and SMPs, I should say. I mean, this is sort of interesting in the light that ACCA being a global organization, very much that you're looking, as a lot of your publications were looking from a global perspective, and now looking at purely at the EU perspective. Perhaps you can give us some light on that.
Yes, thank you very much. Can you hear me still? Okay, yes, okay, fantastic. No, yes, thank you, Robin. So there are indeed some sticky points which prevent the agreement between the legislators on the scope of application on the CSRD, the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive. So ACCA has been actively engaging with the European Commission and the co-legislators, working in collaboration with other member bodies. So for the CSRD, we did support. So we support the European Commission proposal to extend the directive to listed SMEs. So listed SMEs, listed companies of whatever size should be within the scope, as they do have a greater obligation for public reporting than the privately held companies. As for the reporting standards, which Esther mentioned before, so the ESRS, we believe that SMEs should be encouraged to adopt the future ESRS for SMEs voluntarily. So we welcome the development we believe it will be valuable in facilitating and standardizing sustainability reporting for smaller entities. That said, we also think that it is not helpful to bring non-listed SMEs within the mandatory scope of the CSRD at this stage, at least. So we understand that SMEs in certain sectors can have a significant external environmental impacts, and we do agree that the existing financial criteria for SMEs do not reflect the impacts that some SMEs can have on society and the environment. However, we argue that the existing financial criteria does provide an indication of the maturity of the business, and importantly, the resources that it has to comply with additional reporting requirements. So for ACCA, these remain essential considerations if we are to ensure reliable, high quality reporting by SMEs. So basically, ESRS for SMEs adoption should be voluntary for the time being, and following a period of voluntary adoption, lessons learned should be reviewed, and we would recommend to conduct impact assessments and stakeholder consultation with broad representation from SME report preparers before potentially moving towards mandation. But for now, it should be voluntary for non-listed SMEs. With regard to the CSDD, which is also being discussed by the co-legislators, so the Corporate Sustainable Due Diligence Initiative, we indicated in our response to the consultation on the adopted act that we need more details about who the addressee companies are and what is expected from them. The definitions are essential to ensuring the appropriate assurance and accountability to achieve the objectives of the directive. So we believe that the CSDD scope is too much centered on the largest companies and does not offer sufficient reach to SMEs, which make most of the EU economy. And collectively, we need to provide ongoing support and guidance for SMEs around the world if we are to reverse the adverse impacts on people and the planet, and to make sustainable corporate governance the norm. So we believe that businesses, whether large or small, will only be pulled back by rules that would lack clarity, consistency, and comparability.
Thanks, Cecile. At this stage, I think it'd be appropriate if anybody in the audience would like to ask any questions. Once again, like Paul, I cannot see necessarily, but I can see somebody in the middle there who, and perhaps if you could say your name, please, and your organization. Okay, if you can say your name and organization and the question, that'd be great. Thanks.
Thank you very much to organizations for this incredible event. My name is Jose Martinez. I'm economist here in Alicante, and I'm missing one important thing because many customers normally ask me, its value. Costs are important, of course, but are more important the outcome that this cost brings about. So where is the value on all this? Because if I have to offer my customers all this reporting, this new reporting, they will ask me for value. And the answer will be, okay, what about my competitors in India or in Morocco or in China or in South Africa or in the United States? will be obliged to make the same reporting? So that's the question.
An important challenge. So, okay, who's going to take that on first? You three. A very difficult question.
I can break the ice. Yeah. Yeah, I can say something.
Okay, Esther, you
Yeah.
can. Okay.
I think that SMEs and SMPs see now sustainability requirements as a burden. Yeah, we have just said it. But I think we have to get used to using it firstly as an internal management tool, because in this way you will have lots of information in order to better manage your company. Yeah, this is a goal. Yeah, and there is another important point, that is that in a very near future, if you are going to ask for financial resources in the bank, they are going to ask you for this information. So if you don't have this information, you won't have any kind of loan or credit or financial resources. So yeah, I fully agree with the question, but this is the situation in the European Union now. So we have to see the internal advantages in order to try to use this information as an internal management tool. If you are going to compile this information, use it as improve your management in the company, and then you are going to be required to get financial resources. Yes.
I understand that you live in Alicante, but I live in the Netherlands, and what we have seen with the climate change, that is a big reason to reduce energy use. But now we have seen a large increase of energy costs within companies because of Ukraine. And the company I used as an example, the Superbrick, they doubled in their energy costs because of the increasing energy prices. So it's also an economic reality, at least in a more up north, that you have to reduce your energy use. And also that is a very important reason to adapt the policy, and also be prepared for the future with less energy use.
Helena, any views?
Yes, I was thinking that I must reinforce what Esther said. It's going to be more one problem, then you don't want to do it, because the companies are going to have a big obstacle to get money for the financial. And it's going to be just like that, a big problem, because it's going to be one of the rates that they use in the banks more than anything. They're going to see which are your practices of sustainability, which are your concerns about the climate, everything. So it's going to be the new measure for the companies. The companies are going to have different levels according with their practices. What concerns with the ambience and everything. So yes, I agree with Esther that is going to be a cost inevitable, because about that you are going to have more costs, because your company is going to be struggled without money.
And added to that, I have not. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, sorry. No, if I just may, yes, please. Sorry, I took the opportunity to speak as well. Apologies. No, just to add to what my fellow panelists just said, there is also the problem of supply chain that we were discussing before, because indeed, even though non-listed SME will probably not be part of the scope of application of the CSRD, those part of the supply chain will be, under the pressure of the bigger groups to provide information in any case. So I think it's a must to get prepared to it in any case. And as Esther was saying, to get the loans as well, to get access to green finance, the information will have to be there as well. So I don't think this is something that can be escaped now.
I mean, it could be that some sectors may feel that they're being discriminated against, in the sense of going back to that point, that and picking up Harry's example of somebody in the food sector supplying large companies is going to be probably more concerned and more involved in issues to do with disclosures and the costs of disclosing than other companies, I suspect. Just one last point. I think Paul's sort of hovering there. Is that true? No, you're not hovering. All right, we can go on. A bit longer. One of the things that Monica brought up, which I thought was very interesting, this as we move forward, and I think everybody's saying actually we're in the present, not the future anyway. But however, in the present, then about this training aspect. That, you know, this seems to be a theme that you all touched on. How much is that a reality? Will that be, if you like, captured through continued professional development, or how would you see that in the future? Training in your...
When you want to be active in helping your clients, as an example, in lowering their energy use, there's also a technical aspect. And what we do is we join experts in a platform, so we where we need them, we can bring them to our clients. And I think that is also a thing where an accountant does more often, that when you don't have the expertise yourself, you get another expert to support you, but you are the director of we call it the regisseur. We are the spin in the web to get all the people together to serve our clients.
Well, both of you being practitioners seem to be converted to the fact that this is actually going to happen. But do you think there's going to be deniers, i.e. SMPs that are not thinking about this, and how do you get them on board? Helena, do you think there's evidence of people thinking, no, this is not going to happen?
No, they don't think that is not going to happen because it's happening already.
Yeah, okay.
So, but I must say that about the training, we have that knowledge and that need along the time. And in our institution, we made many times webinars with many people from many places, entrepreneurs, institutions, to get some ideas together to see how it can work good for all of them.
But what interestingly, a majority of the disclosures, or a lot of the disclosures I understand, are probably going to be narratives. Now, we're not used to, as accountants, to producing narratives so much. We produce numbers.
Numbers.
Do you see that's going to be a challenge in the?
Yes, it's everything new. It's always a challenge, and because our companies, they are not. They don't have resources to do it on their own, so they need us. So we must be prepared. That's why we are very important on the society. Someone in the morning said that we are going to save the world. Yes, for sure, because everything depends on us. So I think we must do it for them, for us, and it's not going to be as you wish. It's going to be, you need to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Esther, that I mean, presumably there's this discussion about in a European EFRAG level regarding this problem of narratives, and will the taxonomy and the standard be very helpful in that way, do you think, in terms of producing the narratives?
We are conscious about this because, the sustainability information should be narrative, but at the same time, there should be some key performance indicators too, numbers. And I think that the discussion has been tried to make it easier, but I don't know if we have succeeded in it. And speaking from the point of view of SMEs and SMPs, in the PTF, there was a cluster specifically working on these SMEs standards, and the leader comes from SME United.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we know that SMEs are not comparable to large companies, and our goal, and we are working in the design of these SME standards, is to try to develop really core basic standards
Mhm.
in order to avoid this difficult wording or difficult requirements on some concepts that are not understood by anyone in the street. For example, if we speak about materiality or double materiality, and you ask someone, what is it? What is it? And yeah, we are trying to develop core standards
Right.
in a simple wording
Yep.
and with basic requirements.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
because we think that the scope of the proposal for CSRD is not so important, because the discussion is listed SMEs or not listed, and listed SMEs are really large companies
Yes,
if
yes.
you compare them with the other non-listed SMEs, and the majority of SMEs are really small SMEs.
Right.
So it doesn't matter the scope, because it's under discussion. We only want to develop core standards to be applied voluntarily.